Welcome to the Naked Truth Report with your host, truth warrior and mythbuster Kathleen Wells. The place where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. My name is Kathleen Wells, your host. The Naked Truth Report. You guys know the show, my Truth Warriors and Mythbusters. I don't have to tell you what the show is. We're going to have a great show today because we're going to have a guest and we're going to talk about, well, wait, you know what? I forgot. I always forget. Before I bring on my guest, I want to say that, you know what? My engineer, Sullivan is leaving. He's going on to bigger and better things. And, you know, everyone knows I love my engineer. We're always on the same page. We're always grooving at the same pace. Sometimes I don't even have to tell him what music to play. He just does it. He just knows the flow. He gets what's going on. He's just into the show like I'm into the show. And I appreciate it, and I'm going to miss him very much. So, yes, Sullivan is leaving. He's going on to bigger and brighter things. He's a great engineer. I'm going to miss him very much. So, Sullivan, thank you very much for being my engineer. You know I'm going to miss you. Are you listening, Sullivan? Anyway, and I have a new engineer. Kevin is my new engineer. And this is our first day officially doing the show. Right, Kevin? Say hi, Kevin. Can they say hi, Kevin, to my Truth Warriors and Mythbusters? They can't hear you? No, they can't. Okay, we're going to have a good show. Thank you, Kevin, for being my engineer. And I want to thank Brooke, my call screener. Brooke, are you listening? Thank you, Brooke, for being she's not listening either. You guys, hi, Brooke. I want to thank you for being a great call screener. I really appreciate it. She's fantastic too. So, you know, it takes a team to make the Naked Truth Report work, right? It takes a team. There's no I in team. Is that what they say? There's some saying like that. There's no I in the word team. It takes a team to make the Naked Truth Report work. And I'm very, very, very appreciative for my team workers. We work together to make it happen. It's a good thing. We have a guest today, but first I want to mention a few things briefly. And I want to say, what do I want to say? I want to ask a question. And the question is, why is the truth so hard to find? Why do we have to dig for the truth? Why isn't the truth like readily available? I mean, I don't understand. And when I think of the media, you know, they're merely the media and the talking heads. They're merely partisan hacks. They're merely partisan hacks. They just take the position of the party that they're affiliated with. They're not looking for the truth. They're not looking for justice. They're just taking the point of view, the position of their political party. And so for me, the question, that's why this show is called the Naked Truth Report, because I'm about the truth. I don't care. And that's something that Malcolm X said. I don't care who tells it. If it's the truth, I love it. I'm not into who's telling the truth. I want to know the truth. It's not about who's telling it. It's about what is the truth, right? So this is why, this is why I always talk about the data, because the data definitely lies in the truth, does it not? The data tells you the truth. If you are searching for the truth, go to the data. Right? So I don't know why we're all so confused politically. I don't know why we're in this mess we're in. Has it always been like this? Has it always been like this? Has the media, and I've heard, I remember my dad used to say, it was like, oh, well, that's propaganda. When I was young, I didn't know what he meant, but now I know. It's propaganda. You're pushing an agenda. You have an interest. Things have gotten really bad. But I've heard that years ago, decades ago, the media was like this too. So this isn't just like our generation. It was always an agenda being pushed. And the issue is why don't we have like one political party that is for the American people? one party for the American people. I mean, to me, it's like we're all Americans and we all want the best interest for America. I mean, does that seem unreasonable? So when you have these two parties constantly competing, they're just like ideologues. They're not truth seekers. They're mere ideologues, right? Anyway, why is the truth so difficult to find? Why do the American people have to dig to find the truth? I'm going to bring on my guests, and we're going to talk about what? The Kanye West effect. The Kanye West effect. You know what that is? That the Kanye West effect is when you have someone who has 23 or 24 or 28 million followers and they tweet out 7 or 8 words and the whole political landscape or dynamic, at least in regards to the media and social media specifically, goes into a tailspin. The whole thing has just like been blown up, so to speak, or at least it's shifted, or the dynamic has changed, or the landscape looks a little different, or the dialogue has opened. The dialogue has opened. And people who've been following the Naked Truth Report know that I want the dialogue open, right? Because I know that the truth lies in the data, and I tell the data, and so the truth lies with the Naked Truth Report, right? So let's open up the dialogue. And see, this is why you can never get these Democrats to have an honest discussion with you. They never want to discuss the substance. They never want to discuss the substance. But we're going to discuss the substance right now with my guest, Brandon Tatum, who is, what is your title, Brandon? Can you tell me? I'm sorry.
I'm the director of urban engagement with Turning Point USA.
He is the did you hear that? He is the director of urban engagement. I don't even know if I like that word urban, but we can talk about it. He is the director, because it's not specific enough. He is the director of urban engagement for Turning Point USA. Well, Brandon, welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Well, thank you for having me.
So before we get into the Kanye West effect, tell my truth warriors and mythbusters how you got affiliated with Turning Point USA.
Well, I think it's because I've been consistently telling the truth on my platforms, and I've been consistent in the values that surround what Turning Point USA is trying to accomplish. They've always tried to accomplish, but especially now in this crucial time, moving forward, they need someone that is going to tell the truth, that's going to be honest, that's genuine, authentic, and somebody that has a heart for conservative values and have a heart for the people. And I think with my track record of doing that, almost all throughout my life, obviously I was a police officer before this, an athlete at university, all of those things put together, I think, gave them the idea to say, let's bring this guy aboard and let's see if we can all work together to make this country better.
Well, you weren't always a conservative. You didn't always vote for the GOP. In fact, you grew up being a Democrat. Touch on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is the same narrative and idea that Kanye is talking about, that Candace is talking about, and other people have probably been talking about historically, is the idea that when you're African American, that it is presumed at birth that you're a Democrat. At least in my generation, it's presumed that you're a Democrat. And growing up, I was considered a liberal, a Democrat. I wasn't active in politics. I didn't even vote until 2012. So, but I grew up with that ideology. I grew up with that in my mind. Everything was that Democrats were right and that the Republican Party was racist. They don't care about black people. They're doing nothing for black people. They just want what's best for white people, and they want to take all the money and not give to the poor. That was the ideology that I had. And then over time, 3 major things happened to me that shifted my mindset. And one was I left the hood and I went to college. The second one is that I got saved, baptized in Jesus' name and filled with His Spirit. I got saved. And then the third thing is when I became a police officer, that's what really tipped the scale for me. And I literally, what some would say, took the red pill.
Mm-hmm. You took the red pill, but I was looking at. I want to encourage people to go to Brandon Tatum's YouTube channel. Can you give him the name?
If you type in Brandon Tatum, I think it'll pop up. I'm not really sure what the little URL is, but if you just type in Brandon Tatum, I think I should be at this point. I'm probably the most popular Brandon Tatum on YouTube. So
Right.
just type in Brandon Tatum and you'll see it.
Yeah, Brandon Tatum, and I knew him. This is what I want to say. When I decided, oh gosh, when Trump came down that escalator and said he was going to build a wall, I'm like, listen, I'm voting for that man, right? So I was on the Trump train immediately, and when that happened, I started looking on YouTube for other Black Trump supporters because there was so much propaganda. There were so many lies being told about Black folks hating Donald Trump. I'm like, I know I can't be the only one that wants a wall built, right? Living in Los Angeles. So I would look on YouTube, and I did see your YouTube channel, and I did listen to some of them, but now I've listened to even more Brandon. And so I want to encourage people to go to Brandon Tatum's, Tatum, his YouTube channel, and take a listen to get the full effect of what he's talking about and where he's coming from. So yeah, you said that you made the transformation from Democrat to liberal, Democrat to Republican, and that you were like most Black Democrats. You lived in the hood and all that stuff, right? I even heard one video where you said you even wore your pants sagging and you have a tattoo.
Yeah. I had gold teeth in my mouth. I had the bottom row of my teeth were white gold, custom white gold that I got from Big T in Dallas, which they made grills and they sold all kind of other fake stuff in their store pretty much. But I bought some gold teeth there. I used to sag my pants. I cussed every word out of my mouth. I said the N-word, every other word that came out of my mouth.
Are you kidding? I can't even imagine you beat.
I know. That's the funny thing is that I'm not trying to get out spiritual, but like, that's the evidence of God being real, because I sometimes look back and say, I can't even believe I did that. I can't even believe that's who I was. And people that know me now, they won't believe me.
No,
I'm telling you what, if you go and look up my MySpace account, which I can't get into for some reason, but people look up my MySpace account, look on my Facebook a long time ago. I mean, ask anybody that knew me in college when I was a freshman in the high school, they would tell you that I'm not playing. I got Young Savage tattooed across my stomach. Like,
I know.
God really transformed me in addition to some of the things that I learned politically.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I would never believe that about you. I mean, I saw, because I was looking at your videos, like, gosh, I love like expressions and sayings, and you say some wonderful things. I mean, let me tell you, folks, his videos get like hundreds of thousands of hits. Hundreds of thousands of hits. My video, hey, you guys, I've asked you guys to go to my YouTube channel, right? Bring my numbers up. Bring my numbers up, because I want the truth out there. Also, I want to get Ice on the show, and I want to get, some of these, maybe you can help me with that. I would like to get some of these guys that work at the border. Some of the Border Patrol people. I want to get those folks on the show. So that's why I want you to go to the Naked Truth Report YouTube channel. Please subscribe and get my numbers up. But let me tell you, Brandon's numbers are off the charts. It's very impressive. He's in like the hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands for sure, hundreds of thousands, a lot of videos. How many subscribers do you have?
Well, my YouTube is blowing up pretty much in the last couple months. I'm at 123,000 subscribers.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. But you know what? His message is so on point, and he speaks so well. He puts things well. He puts them together the way I've never heard. Like, one of the things he said that I remember is that he says, if you have people who speak from the heart have more power than people who don't speak from the heart. Isn't that a wonderful thing to say? Isn't that wonderful? Oh, and another thing he says is that the liberals have stolen the minds and hearts of our youth. Isn't that a beautiful thing to say? So anyway, let's get to Kanye West. Oh, I forgot. I was going to play the clip first, right? Do we have it? Before we start talking about Kanye West, why don't we play that clip of what Kanye said? Could you play it, Kevin? Thank you.
Can I go back to something you just said? Because I don't want to let it pass. You said that slavery was around for 400 years. At a point, it becomes a choice.
Yeah, right now we're choosing to be enslaved. We're like, okay, so Ebro, I FaceTime him, and I'm there with Candace, right? And Ebro starts bringing up his version of facts, right? And Candace has facts. She's researched, right? Candace Owens has facts. She's researched. And then Candace just pulls out her Jedi lightsaber and just, chops Ebro's head off with facts. The Ebro FaceTimes me the next day, and he's talking about the scoop, and poop. He wants to talk about music now. I said, yo, you gonna have Candace on your show? He's like, no, I'm not. She's mean. So you're gonna stifle her voice, Ebro. You're choosing to enslave people's minds. You're choosing to not let the truth be free.
Can I give you my translation of what happened last week and tell me if it's right?
Okay.
The way I see it, you don't necessarily embrace the views of Donald Trump as much as you want to show people that they shouldn't be intimidated from showing their true feelings, expressing themselves freely, and that the hat is a lightning rod for this kind of free thought that is lost in our society because people get bullied and shouted down and they're intimidated to the point where they have to shut up. Is that fair?
It's the mob. The mob tries to tell you what to think. The mob tries to make all blacks be Democrats for food stamps and stuff. It's the mob. And by the way, you're just talking to the emotion. When you get Candace, ask her, she's going to drop you the facts. We're going to have Candace on in a bit. The kid, if you ask the kid that stood in Tiananmen Square, in front of the tank why he did it, he might not be able to explain that. But you can't diminish that moment if I can't give you the direct explanation.
But that kid had a righteous point of view that he really believed in, and that's why he was standing in front of the tank. My righteous
point of view is free thought. Now, if you want to ask me, I don't have extremely strong political opinions. You could talk to John Legend if you want some political. I've never been into politics. I just love Trump. That's my boy. It's like so many rappers. You'll look at a video of Snoop Dogg loving Trump, but then he get in the office and now they don't love him. Trump is one of rap's favorite people, right?
But we Okay, that was Kanye West with Harvey Levin on TMZ. And the big controversy was that he said that everyone went off the deep end because they thought Kanye said slavery is a choice. Touch on that, Brandon.
Yeah, the scary part and the upsetting part about the whole thing is that I feel like that people attack one area of what they thought he said, and they didn't even listen to all that fact-based brilliance that he said, every word he said, even before or after that quote. But when I watched it, because I saw the outrage and I was like, he said what? And so I went and looked at it, and I know that Kanye is on this mission of trying to find out how to put all of his open-minded thoughts together and compile it into a vision and an image that, portrays where his heart is at. And so I already knew when I heard somebody throw it out there that I'm like, let me look at it for myself and see what he said and put it in context. And then when I watched it immediately, when I saw what he said, I knew exactly what he was referring to. And I made a video about it. And it has nothing to do with him legitimately saying or saying that racism was a choice, meaning that black people were in Africa and said, hey, Europeans, come get us. We'll get on a boat, and most of us will die before we ever get to the New World or the Americas. And then we're going to get over here and we're going to let you beat us and enslave us and sell us and treat us like less than humans. He's not saying that that's the way it went. What he's saying is that at some point, it's not physical control and it's psychological control. And he's referring to today. I think that the way I grew up.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with you because he says because right now, today, our minds. See, he is speaking about today. Okay, go ahead. I mean, and yet everybody's talking about slavery. Okay.
And I think that he was touching on, and which is pretty brilliant if people will take the time to really look at it. He was referring mostly to today because most of today is psychological warfare. Mm-hmm. But there is a concept of psychological warfare back in slavery times. They did a whole bunch of things that tricked the black Africans psychologically to keep them on plantations that they could easily overrun. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the history of slavery, you see people like Nat Turner, you see people like Harriet Tubman that made the decision to leave the plantation and that they were no longer going to accept slavery. There were others who you know, they were bound psychologically. They didn't believe that Harriet Tubman was doing the right thing. They didn't believe that there was an opportunity to go to the free will. If that was the case, then everybody would be. It would have been more people gone. And I want to clarify for your listeners about this quote. You know, people continue to say that Harriet Tubman said that, you know, she saved thousands and she would have saved more if they only knew they were in slavery. Well, historians that I know say that that's not a verified term, but the idea of it is legitimate. If some of these people, I mean, some of the slave owners had.
No, I don't want, listen, I don't even want to talk about slavery. Okay. I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the mindset, because we don't know all the details and it's complicated and we all know enough and the movies aren't right. I want to talk about today. Why are people Democrats when you got 40% of black folks homeless in America? 40% of the homeless in Los Angeles are blacks. So why are you still Democrat? That's what I want to know.
And I think that it's psychological.
That's a psychological grip on the mind.
And this is what happens when you go through trauma in life, whether it's a lot of people that go through PTSD or you have some traumatic experience. People use your emotions to get to you, because when you don't have nothing to eat, you just say you're sitting at the house, you ain't got nothing to eat. Your mom is on drugs, your dad ain't nowhere to be found, and you're hungry. If somebody can appeal to your emotions is going to supersede logic. And I think that's what's really getting young people, because, I mean, we can look at the stats. 50%, almost half of America didn't even vote. So a lot of people are not even voting. Even some of these people that are activists in the black community aren't even voting. So, but what's happening is that they're brainwashing the young people because they are using specific points to get to their emotions. For instance, when I was growing up, the only thing I heard about black people was slavery, which we're not going to continue to beat a dead horse on that. I hear about, young people like Emmett Till. You hear about the gentleman that got beat. I forget his name. But you hear about all of these negative imagery of what black people went through in America. And then that's all they tell you. And then they bring you to the point to where it's time for you to vote, or you have some conscious awareness about political issues. And they say, see, look, all this that happened, this group don't want that to happen to you. This other group wants it to happen to you. And we run with it, which has been historically a fault of ours. But I think that Kanye is just him coming out and making a statement, whether or not he flip and decide to say he want to vote for Democrats from here on out or not. I think he at least fostered a conversation.
Again, that's all I want the dialogue open. Most of the people on social media anyway, and even in the media, in the mainstream media, they took out of context what he said, because he's really talking about right now, today, we are enslaved. Our mind is on lockdown. Okay. But most of the people in the media took that and ran with it. That just shows you the manipulation by the media. The media is very guilty, and the Democratic Party is very guilty, because for years they said that illegal aliens only work in the fields. They said that for years. Everyone repeated that guy Ramos on Fox, all those talking heads who were activists for illegal aliens said that only illegal aliens work in the fields. They're liars. So the thing of it is that now they're saying Donald Trump lies, but his lies are misstatements, or what is the word I'm looking for? Misrepresentations or omissions. Is him trying to not get got by the liars. That's the way I see it. He has a greater good in store for America. He's about making America great for everyone. And so he's trying not to get got by the folks, the politicians, the establishment folks who have been lying to America forever and a day. So, C-SPAN, I got off on a tangent. So anyway, let's get back on the Kanye West effect. Okay, Brandon, talk to me about what is Candace Owens, what are your thoughts about her? You know her personally. Give us your thought about Candace. Her intentions and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't known her for a very long time, but just knowing her when I first met her, because she reached out to me on Twitter. I made like a super viral video, and she reached out like, hey, we should connect. And when I actually decided to meet with her out here in Phoenix, I had an opportunity to meet her around her family. And, you know, people, when they're around their family, they're the most genuine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not trying to save face. And to be honest, if you fake around your family, they're going to call you out.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an opportunity to meet Candace and see a very, very genuine side of her. And she was, you know, what struck me is her passion and zeal for the truth. And it struck a nerve with me because it's we're very, very similar in that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I'm not saying a lot of people, I've heard people try to criticize Candace. And it's like, and I said it in my video, before you get yourself in a chokehold, before you get on the wrong side of this argument, you should go meet Candace and kind of talk to the young lady, because she has been authentic and genuine, and she's brilliant. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to be flat out honest with your followers and everybody's listening. She is a major threat to the establishment and a threat to liberals who want to see black people not have a free mind.
Okay,
Because
you know what? Wait, Brandon, we're gonna take a hard break right now, and when we come back, I'm gonna let you finish that thought about how Candace is genuine. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Naked Truth Report. My guest is Brandon Tatum, and we're talking about the Kanye West effect.
So I keep it low, keep a secret.
Are you a local business owner? Are you interested in increasing customer counts and store traffic, or increasing traffic to your website? If you answered yes, then you need to advertise on the Naked Truth Report. For more information on how to become a sponsor, please reach out to RJ Beaton at 818-517-KRLA. That's 818-517-5752. Or email us at rj@krla870.com. That's rj@krla870.com. Kathleen Wells, the host of the Naked Truth Report, wants to hear from you. Just like our borders, the phone lines, well, they're wide open. Call in at 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. 866-870-KRLA.
That's the Kanye West effect. Love lockdown. The Democratic Party has been locking down the minds of black folks. I don't know about you, but I don't want my mind locked down. What about you? You want your mind locked down? If you don't have your mind locked down, why are you still voting Democrat when you can go out there to Skid Row and see all those black folks living on the streets? How can that be cool to you, being a black person in Los Angeles? Those black folks weren't out there on Skid Row when I was growing up. Now we're 40% of the homeless in Los Angeles. We're 40% of the homeless in Los Angeles, and only 6% of the population in Los Angeles. So yeah, black folks, you're locked down. You're locked down on the mind. That's the truth, right, Brandon?
Yes, that's the honest to God truth. Unfortunately, it's the truth.
Well, okay. So anyway, talk to me about, continue on about, this is the other thing I want to say. If I haven't seen it, if I don't know it, if I didn't see it or I didn't hear it, I don't know it. If I didn't see it or if I didn't hear it, I don't know it. Not definitively, not to the extent that I can go to Las Vegas and bet on it. Do you know what I'm saying? I may have a feel about something, but to say I know something definitively where I'm going to go to Vegas and bet on it, that's not happening. I have to see it and know it for myself, right? So anyway, Brandon, go on and finish telling me about why you feel that Candace is sincere. I don't even know if this matters, because I don't even think it matters. Do you?
Well, to a certain degree, I think that people need to hear a perspective of Candace Owens that may not be portrayed in the media. You know, some people, this is their first time ever hearing about Candace Owens, and I think that you don't hear a lot from people who know her. And I wouldn't say know her like I'm her best friend or nothing like that, but I have met her on several occasions. We have phone conversations and we work together. So I think that I know her just as much as anybody that's going to be out there talking. And I think that it's invaluable to understand that she's genuine. And it's invaluable to understand the impact that she's making and why people are going to have to come against her on the left. Simply because she's brilliant, she's gorgeous, and then you have to look at the fact that she's fearless. You will figuratively get your head bust if you go against her and you don't have facts. And it's rare to have that combination simply because the left has for years been successful in getting people who are fearless and who have some influence based on looks and intelligence. And I feel like that we have somewhat at times struggled with that. And a lot of people I just feel like a lot of people are going to hear more from Candace and a lot of people are being inspired.
Inspiration is a good thing. Opening the dialogue is a good thing. Always having an open mind is a good thing, right?
Yes. I mean, it's the only way to survive is to have an open mind. And no matter what you're doing in life, business, religion, whether it's politics, whether it's how to raise your children, you always have to maintain a legitimacy in having an open mind. The moment that you close your mind is the moment that you fail in life. And I'll tell you this, the greatest accomplishment in life came when somebody proved me wrong. And I was forced to go back to the drawing board and look at this. The Democratic Party, me being a leftist or a liberal or voting Democrat, when I found out that the Democratic Party, orchestrated or created the KKK, when I found out that they voted against most of the civil rights, they voted against the voting rights, a majority of them. They were against everything that we stand for as African American people and as Americans in this country. When I found that out, it was like somebody just spit in my face. I was floored, and I had to go and evaluate it and say, let me look this up and make sure. And when I did, I was shocked. Mm-hmm. And I cannot believe that we still support a party that has historically been in opposition of African American people in this country. And today they're still doing it. You gave the stats in California. Right. We're not 40% unemployed because somehow there's not opportunities. It's because they prefer the illegals over the people that's already living there.
Oh, that's right. You know what? We have some phone calls. How do you feel about taking phone calls?
Oh, I'm 100% down.
Okay, let's take a phone. You were gobsmacked. I love that word, gobsmacked. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay, let's take a call from Barry in South Central. Hi, Barry.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, my name is Daryl.
Oh,
Daryl. I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm a brother out of South Central.
Well, welcome to the Neck of Truth Report. Welcome to the Neck of Truth Report, Daryl.
I know I've been listening to you. I appreciate your existence. I just wrote a poem in regard to some of these shady politicians that have been inundating our hood with all this propaganda. It say, politics is how to get rich quick alongside lies and scandalous tricks, bearing promises and token gifts, investing minimal risk in a vicious game where past power exists. And this is something I wrote in regards to what y'all just was talking about. Deep beneath the mystique, analyze what the mind sees, scratch away the surface upon the belief. Knowledge dwells in murky wells where still waters run deep. And I just want to say there's a lot of people out here in the trenches in South Central who don't think Kanye West is no time. Them is old words. That don't work on us no more. And Snoop Dogg ain't got no influence out here in these urban jungles. So all that he's talking about, he's doing that because he's trying to posture his sponsors. Right. But I just want to let you know, I heard, you said your thing with Lamar Park, but it's brothers all over this city, ex-gang members and everything, who ain't beholden to the psychological shackles of the Democratic Liberal Party, because they've been, I've been through a whole lot in my experiences with this party, and I'm just now at this age, at 59, learning how to find my way, and navigate through these shark-infested waters. Mm-hmm. And you've been to have you seen Skid Row? I used to hustle down there in Skid Row back in the days. I wouldn't go down. It's devastating. It looked like they desecrated a bomb. They desecrated people's souls with drugs. And the way the Democratic Party is enabling and encourage that type of behavior and that type of lifestyle is appalling.
It's appalling. It's
And
appalling.
black folks. And I was listening to the Morning Answer, you know, with the lady Jennifer and the liberal, but he did say something that was kind of boggling to me. He said he don't know why black people would want to vote Republican. You know, that narrative that he could assume that, you know, they got us locked down, they got a monopoly on our way of thinking. Right. It's really is an insult to our intelligence. We would, you know, I read Ivan von Sertima, and I want to suggest that you read a book called Black Woman of Antiquity. You will love it. Probably you read it already.
No, I haven't read
Ivan von Sertima.
Okay, listen, Daryl.
And they talk about all the black women throughout the history of mankind who made a contribute to the civilization of mankind. It's a very fascinating book.
Okay, Daryl, I appreciate you calling into the Naked Truth Report. Do you have a question for Brandon?
Hey, yeah, Brandon, look, I mean, you know, I wanted to say, you know, I was hearing something about in Inglewood, they got a Republican Party out there. I'm not really affiliated with politics that much, but I do have a rudimentary understanding of it. And I just want you to know, brother, keep it up. You know, what you're saying is resonating out there. I don't care what the media say. We ain't even talking about that false narrative. We talking about people that's in barbershops, that's in bars, that's out here, you know, on the grind, and they talking now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stirring up and y'all provoking thought, and that's what we need.
Well, Daryl, I'm glad to
hear. You got people that's being miseducated and been vaccinated with propaganda since they was able to enter the public school system.
Daryl, I'm glad to hear it. Hey, guess what? Go to my Naked Truth Report YouTube channel and see my interview with Malik Spellman and who else? Melvin Farmer and it's on my YouTube channel. Go check it out, Daryl. Thanks for calling the Naked Truth Report. Now we'll take a call from Mike. Mike, you want to talk about the Republican Party?
Right. Now, this is a...
do you have a question? Wait, I want to say, do you have a question for Brandon? You know, I got my guest here. You got to ask him a question. Come on.
Well, I just tuned in, Brandon. You mentioned a young black woman who's a conservative, and her name eludes me. What's her name?
Candace Owen.
She was on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay. Well, I happen to think she's a brilliant woman who gives facts and does not base her. I've seen her on PragerU and on Larry Elder, and she completely smokes her competition because she is fact-based, and she's actually able to, defeat any adversaries on Fox.
No, I don't think that's Candace Owens that's been on Prager.
Yeah, it was Candace Owens, exactly.
No, but she's not on. She was on Prager University?
Yeah, she had a video on PragerU.
Oh, wonder! I missed that.
I think she's brilliant, and I would. This is a compliment. I think that she's I think Ben Shapiro is amazing, and I think she's every bit as amazing as Ben Shapiro. So so the question would be, you and I are contemporaries, sir, and as a former lifelong Democrat who is I call myself a Trumpocrat. Because being a liberal from when we were coming up is, if you call yourself a liberal now, you're more of a socialist. You know, these Mike Furers, our city attorney, Garcetti, Gavin Newsom, Pelosi, Bernie Sanders, Schumers, they're not liberals, they're socialists. They will destroy, and especially in California, will destroy this country much like Venezuela. And so I don't call myself a liberal because it lets people think that I'm along the same lines as these people, and I'm looking at other states, and it's a shame, but the shine is off California and off of Los Angeles.
Okay, Mike, give us a question.
All right, here's my point. I don't think a Republican Party.
I said, give me a question. Give me a question, Mike, for Brendan.
Do you think that there could be a third party that does not exist that would be somewhat of a Trumpocrat, a party that would be able in California that would have that type of appeal to the lost Democrats and the Republicans that realize that a Republican named party just will not prevail in this state or this city.
Okay, Mike, thanks for calling into the Naked Truth Report. Brandon, he says, what do you think about a third party?
Yeah, well, thanks, Mike, for that question. But I think Donald Trump is revolutionizing this whole thing, the way we look at parties, because I didn't vote for the Republican Party. I voted for a person with the ideology that I see fit moving forward in this country. If Donald Trump was a Democrat and he had the same mission, I would vote for him as a Democrat. So what I'm thinking that's going to happen is that it's going to be an impossibility, I think, for there to be a third party. I think what's going to happen is that people are going to start voting based on individuals. So people like Donald Trump and the people who are going to come after him, who have conservative ideologies or ideologies that the country want to see moving forward, they're going to vote for that person. And I just feel like that person is going to end up being in the Republican Party on the Republican ticket for the next several years until something else can change, because the left and the Democrats have just ruined their reputation almost entirely. Mm-hmm. And I think that the Republicans, they don't have a great reputation either, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think that Donald Trump is now restoring confidence that people can vote on the Republican side. So even people that identify as Democrat, they'll vote Republican for the person. Mm-hmm.
You're in Arizona, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right when you say the Democrats have destroyed that party. Touch on that. Touch on that. Yeah.
It's embarrassing. I think the scary part is that the deeper they go into the rabbit hole, is the more common sense folk are waking up and saying, man, this is just way too crazy for me. Even people like the callers call in, that there was a traditional liberal or a Democrat, they're going so far off the reservation that people are saying, I can't even if I don't support Trump, even if I don't support the right, I can't deal with what we got as our party leaders, Pelosi and some of these other people who are socialists. And then the fact that they're doubling down on issues that America do not care about. They are more worried about Donald Trump eating ice cream. They're more worried about fake news than they are about issues. And like the other brother that called in, they were talking about what the people in the hood are really feeling. It's because when you see the representation of Maxine Waters and some of these other people, they just hate Trump. They don't have solutions for us. They're not projecting anything that we can tangibly use, and they can't even answer the hard questions as to why our community is so decimated when you guys are supposed to be the party that helps us. They have no solutions. They're running on fear, emotion, and hatred. And so with that policy and that attitude moving forward, as Donald Trump continued to lower taxes, continue to gain consumer confidence, when he do all these things, it just makes them look even worse. So even if people become discouraged about Donald Trump, which I don't think that they will, they have nowhere else to go. So I think that they're going to either never vote Democrat again, or they're going to wait for another person to come after Donald Trump that they mostly identify with.
I mean, the Democrats are running on empty, like Jackson Brown, that song. I love that song, Running on Empty. Well, and also when you think about did you see those folks at the border? That, to me, that should wake everybody up. Donald Trump said, listen, I'm going to close the country down if we don't get this immigration stuff right. Those people feel they're citizens of the world, and they feel entitled to come into Los Angeles because that's where they're headed. They're at
they were right there on the border.
They're right there. They're at the San Diego border. They're going to come right here in Los Angeles, and not one of them will be homeless. But American citizens.
And they're going to come in there, and they're going to have children for free.
Right.
And they're going to be able to get on food stamps. And they're going to completely, take opportunities away from young black people in those communities.
Right. And in fact, R.W. Bray was on the program last week, and he said if they get asylum, they get business loans, they get small business loans, and they also get they receive welfare. So this is why you don't see any illegal aliens sleeping down there on Skid Row. Those aren't illegal aliens. They don't sleep on Skid Row. These people get welfare and small business loans. They open up the next taco stand on Jefferson Boulevard, or on Arlington or whatever, Crenshaw. These are Slauson. This is why Trump must close down the country if these people keep coming to the border. And then they started more people coming to the border.
Illegals are the new black people. I'm telling you, for the Democratic Party, illegals are the new black people. They had the power and influence and because they did the black people the same way, right? They give them food stamps, they give them all these social things that get them hooked. It's almost like they were free. You get out the plantation, right, through slavery, and then they put you back on psychological plantation. They put you back on the system. Now you're relying on the government, and you're not relying on the family. Now that's why we see a tremendous exit of fathers in the black community. Now I'm not giving fathers a pass. They need to take care of their kids. But at the same time, it incentivizes young people to not take accountability of who they having sex with and who's having sex with them. And it's causing such a chaotic situation. Now that black people are waking up, black people are fed up. There's been too many years of us getting done wrong by a party that don't even represent us. So now they've thrown us to the wayside. They cry racist for us every now and again to keep us hooked. But then now they're going to the illegal aliens. They want to get all these illegal people over here who completely will disenfranchise black people, and they want to get them over here to vote. If they can get them, and they can get them asylum, or they can try to get them a path to citizenship, they can vote, whether legally or illegal. And if they can win the minds and the hearts of all these confused people, that's how they win votes. They don't win on facts. They don't win on legitimacy. They win on fear and hatred. And I think that's why they're doing this. And I feel like African-American people in this country need to really take a look at this and say, why are our communities being overrun by Mexicans? Not Mexicans who come here legally, but illegal Mexicans.
Illegal. And
go ahead.
And, Terry Anderson has been talking about that for 30 years. Izola Foster, the Los Angeles Unified School District, who was with the district for 30 years, she's been talking about it for 30 years. The Los Angeles Times has been talking about it for 80 years. Since 1985. So in other words, the gig is up, Democrats. The gig is up. Is that how you say the gig is up? Kanye West, I appreciate him and Candace Owens for opening up the dialogue so that black folks can begin to at least have some breathing room and breathing space to say, well, hey, let me get off. First, let's get off the Democratic plantation and deal with the other stuff later. Where we're going to go first, just leave the Democratic plantation. And I appreciate Candace Owens and Kanye West for raising that issue, for opening up the dialogue. And they say Reuters reported, I think Reuters or Rasmussen or whoever takes the polls, said that black males have doubled their interest for Trump. They have doubled their support for Trump. They went from 11% from 22%. I don't know if that's true, but it's good enough, right? It's good that there's some movement off of this Democratic plantation, right?
Yeah, it's some indication. Like, see, it may not be double, or it may be more than double, and people just aren't polling. So what we can see when the numbers jump like that, you can see that there's some indication of change. And I'm telling you, I don't honestly think that this is what happens. I don't think that Kanye West said something that all the black people want to go for Trump. But what I do see happening is that it gives people permission to think for themselves. A lot of these people who probably answer differently in this poll are people who already want to. They're already on the edge saying that I don't know where to go, but I know I don't want to be here. And when somebody of that stature comes up and says, this is what I believe, and they take all these arrows and all these shots, and they say, you know what, if that man can take these shots, man, let me step out of the box. Let me be honest for a minute. Let me tell people how I really feel. And I think that's what's happening. Like I say, I didn't have the red pill experience. Like I didn't get it in the IV. It didn't go straight to my bloodstream. I took the red pill and it took time to digest. And it was seeds that were planted that helped the digestive process for me in taking the red pill. There's people who continuously told me the truth, and this is what stuck to me. This is what stuck to me, and I'll say this and that, so I'll stop rambling. But what got me as a black man in America is that my friend told me, Brandon, because I'm big on God. I love God. My faith is strong. He said, Brandon, what you believe in God and your moral values don't align with the Democratic Party. And I fought him forever on it. And when I sat down and thought about it, he was 100% right.
Right.
We are some of the most religious people in the world. Black people are religious. They go to church. They love God. They're spiritual. And we need to really stand up and remember who we serve. It's not the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party. It's not man, but we serve God. And I think that we need to hold those principles And if the Democratic Party is for gay marriage and therefore pretty much the abolishment of Christian thought and idea, then we need to really reconsider what we're going with.
Absolutely. I got to go. Thank you for joining me on the Naked Truth Report. I want to have you on, and you're going to get Candace on the show too. Maybe both of you can come on. Thank you very much. This is the Naked Truth Report. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. We got to get the numbers up. Hey, I want my numbers like Brandon, folks. Help me make that happen, right? This is the Naked Truth Report. Here's my love song to you, Truth Warriors, Mythbusters. Thank you. See you next week.